Welcome everyone to week 2 of our class, Education 638, Health Education for Teachers. And although I have not completed all the grading of your reflections and posts this week, I have enjoyed what I've read thus far. And one of the assignments that I really look forward to reading is the Student's Perspective Wiki post. This assignment allows you to put yourself in the student's shoes and address a health challenge that they typically deal with and be the voice for that student. And I also suggest going back when you have a chance and taking a look at what some of your classmates may have posted, because these can be some insightful and powerful responses in understanding what students actually experience. Now, let me address grading of the forms for a moment. Forms are very different from assignments, and there's no location for me to provide specific feedback to you or give comments regarding your general forms. So unfortunately, this does not allow you to understand why you may have received a score less than what's expected. So if you receive a score 80% or below, for example, it typically means that your post is not substantial enough, or maybe it's not focused on the content. It could be too brief or general. It may not directly answer the question or the prompt, and it may not demonstrate that you have sufficient understanding of the material. Also, keep in mind that it's pretty clear if you're waiting until the last moment to post your response, or if you just wanted to quickly get something done just to say you have it done on time. Not only should you address any questions or the prompt thoroughly that are posted, the quality of your post is also important. So if you don't receive a 90% or higher and you're not quite sure as to why, be sure you send me a message and I'll be happy to review your post with you. So this week in Module 2, we kind of get into topic-specific areas. In Module 1, the goal was to get a broad understanding of health and how that impacts learning in the classroom and looking at the broad, overarching, comprehensive health system. This week, we'll look a bit into how to actually teach health. What is the pedagogy of health? Are there specific ways that we should be teaching health, and what does the research suggest that we do? We'll be looking more into the textbook, so hopefully you have that by now. If not, it is going to be difficult for you to follow and keep up with the content. First this week, take a look at the assignment 2.1. Here, you're going to read chapter 4, and then you're also going to read a research article called It's All in the Delivery, which is an analysis of multiple types of health curriculum and approaches to teaching health. There's also a TED Talks video to watch, and then you will follow the prompt, which is what health pedagogical content knowledge, or PCK, the instructional strategies that have proved successful in teaching health, do beginning teachers need to understand and be able to demonstrate. There's a link included to help you understand how to write a synthesis. If you're unsure on how to get started, take a look at this information because it's going to help you develop your prompt or your response to that prompt. And with most forum posts, you're going to include your initial response and then read and comment on a response of one of your classmates. Again, adding your own comments, your insights, your agreements, or questions as responses to their post. So rather than simply including a general sentence or saying like, I agree, or I like what you said, you need to provide something substantial. Before moving on to assignment 2.2, you're going to complete a wiki similar to what you did last week in Module 1. Chapter 5, Mental and Emotional Health. Take a look at Chapter 5 and read through the 10 goals suggested about mental and emotional health. These are different than the standards. Your textbook will say that there are 10 goals under emotional and mental health that you should familiarize yourself with. But then there are the California standards, which are completely different from those, so don't get them confused. And what you want to do is really review the chapter and read through the list, the 10 goals, and think about what your students really need right now. Which of these 10 goals, based on your current population or a future population that you hope to work with, which one stands out? Now, if you're on the View tab, you'll see a sample post, and this is about the appropriate length, 2 paragraphs or so. And you want to make sure that your response is related to the student population that you're addressing. If you're currently working, you want to use your current population, of course. If you're not, you can either use a previous population if you worked with students in the past, or you can relate it to a hypothetical future population that you would like to work with. And once you've chosen your goal, select the Edit tab and include your paragraph response, your 2-paragraph response, and be sure to include your name. Don't forget to save your response. And after your wiki post, you'll move on to assignment 2.2, Learning Mental Health. And included here are a couple of articles on stress related to how Common Core instruction may actually cause stress. And some student stress is actually related to the teacher stress revolving around Common Core. So read through those and address how a classroom teacher can approach working with students and addressing those stress levels in the classroom. Feel free to make this personal and discuss how you specifically can handle issues of stress in the classroom. So share your personal experiences if you have one. If you don't have to stick to a student's perspective. You can just write it from your own perspective. Now, if you're not familiar with the Common Core standards, go ahead and take a look at educate yourself on what Common Core standards actually are. So rather than simply believing what you've heard in the news or read in social media, take a moment and familiarize and educate yourself on what the Common Core standards actually are and what went into their development. I have my own personal opinion about this, but I don't want to bias you, so I won't discuss that here. Just go ahead and read about them for yourself. Then there's the Chapter 6 Wiki. You're going to do the same thing for Chapter 6 that you did for Chapter 5. You'll review the health goals, and this is going to be Health Goal 10 through Health Goal 20. And you'll say, based on my population, which health goal do I want to focus on if I'm taking this into the classroom? Again, select the Edit tab and include your response. Now, be careful that you don't delete someone else's response. If you do, just let me know as soon as you can, because I do have a way to retrieve that information. Sometimes these types of forms do make students nervous, but just be careful when including your response that someone else's does not get deleted. Then you have assignment 2.3, Learning and Family and Social Health. Here, what you're going to do is review the skills discussed and then rank them. You're also going to find a credible resource like a journal article that will help you learn more about the topic, which in turn will also help you with your students, or something that you can use in the classroom setting. Next, you're going to begin looking at your signature assignment for the class. Now, this is going to creep up on you before you know it, so it's important to start working on this as soon as possible. And note that you will not be able to move forward until previous steps have been taken, because your topic will need to be approved. This assignment is going to be vital in developing your final lesson plan, so be sure you give this some special attention. There is a preparing to create your integrated FPU lesson plan form that you need to take a look at first, and I have some information included here that you will definitely need to read through to get a better understanding before moving on to the actual assignment 2.4 form. Now, let me remind you to read and view any information and content posted thoroughly. Videos, written information, any documentation that's been posted. I do track the views on the presentation videos, and I do track the views on the forms. I've received a lot of questions in the past that were actually answered within those videos or within the written information, so take some time to view that information in its entirety. And in assignment 2.4, finding natural alignments in the standards, you'll do just that. You'll seek and identify alignments in the health standards to other standards. In the introduction, I mentioned how all teachers are health teachers, and all teachers should understand how the health of their students can impact learning in other subjects. So what you'll do here is find something that naturally makes sense. You may be addressing a content standard, and then you'll see a health standard and say to yourself, these two are connected, they make sense. They address similar content or expectations, and aligning them is simple to do. You're not going to add more information on top of the current standards. There's already enough information to address in the class with the standards by themselves as it is. So if you're saying that you're going to teach a health standard in addition to another standard, it's not likely to happen, or it's not likely to happen effectively, because you already have a lot of material to cover. An example is provided here by Angel Krause, one of our professors at Fresno Pacific, and this shows how she was able to align social science standards with a health standard. A quick note here on what you want to choose. If you're a multiple subject teacher, you want to choose the ELA Common Core or Math Common Core standards to begin with, and then find a health standard that relates to it. If you're a single subject teacher, you'll just want to choose one of the state standards that you can focus on. Now, the California health standards are linked in the content there, and you may want to save this information to your computer, because you're going to continuously refer to this and access these frequently. And as you can see in Professor Krause's example, she was able to identify 3 different ELA social studies standards, which she then connected or aligned to 3 different health standards. So that gives you an idea of what you're supposed to do. Now, as you begin to read and search for naturally aligning standards, you will need to have them approved by me before you move on to assignment 3.1 next week. So I'll need to respond to each of you individually and approve what you have so far, or give you some feedback and guidance on how you may want to modify those. Now, after assignment 2.4, you're going to go ahead and complete the module feedback information and the wrap up and self-evaluation, as well as the module 2 survey. And that is going to be it for the second week of class. Remember, after you read information and viewed all the videos, if you still have questions, please feel free to reach out to me. That's what I'm here for. Take care for now.